and feel that nice stretch in your shoulders. And drop your head. Good. So we're getting that full extension through all of this. Yeah. And roll back. Nice. Yeah. And then want to turn this way, and we'll do some work here. So first, let's sit back on our toes. So now we're pointing our toes back and bringing the knees up. Good. Beautiful. And then just relaxing into Vajrasana. Beautiful. That's soft hands. Perfect. So one of the benefits of doing all of this kind of real mindful physical work with the breath is so that when you go into the situation of labor, you can kind of access that ability to just relax and breathe. So I think it's great you're doing this every day. Oh yeah, getting down. I'm sure. I can just imagine you. We're gonna have some great stories when you get done. Cool. So now let's bring the knee in and just start to stretch that back, and then kick back with the heel. Good. And feel your back engage. And 2. Good. And 3. And 4. And 5. And 6. You know, in the old days when we used to do that really fast aerobic stuff, yeah, these donkey kicks, this sort of looks similar, but it's such a different experience. Yeah, because this is the totally different intention. Yes, the point and the flexion. So you point as you bring your knee in, and then the last one, bring that leg up. Good. And now bring that left hand up and reach forward to feel that crossbody motion. Good, beautiful. And down. And now bring your leg out to the side. And bring it down and bring it up and down. And watch that left elbow. Good. Trying to use that leverage there. And now bring your leg around and look over your left shoulder at your beautiful right foot. Bring it back around. So really doing a lot of hip work so that we can then release those hips. And having that strength is going to be good for you in your standing. And come down behind into Gormukhasana. Beautiful. So this is a really good pose for stretching out the hips. This is a wonderful pose. So right now, with the left knee up, we're really stretching out that whole left hip. And one of the things about Gormukhasana is we want to try to get both sits bones on the ground, the ischial tuberosity on each side. But for folks who aren't as limber as Michelle, you can always just have your foot up like this.
Ideally, you want to get the feet flipped.
Yes, ideally your feet are facing toward, and then you can, this is a great place to take advantage to just kind of give yourself a nice little foot massage, because your feet always are happy when you rub them. And by the way, I highly advise getting other people to rub your feet while you're pregnant, because you should just take advantage of the fact that people are going to indulge you, and they should. And that's really good for the swelling and the sort of pain and so that you might get.
Like fascia.
Uh-huh.
Brushing that.
Oh, nice. Good. Yeah, that sounds great. And then let's just go into a variation of this where we just bring our feet out to knee level. And feel a slightly different version of that. Feel that more in the, it's a little more in the ITB. Yeah. So this is, and in the other hip. So this is a good one. So you feel this on both sides of the ITB. So it's actually, this is fun because in the class with other people that aren't as flexible as you, it's a little harder for me to go into these further poses, but I know these are real good for you. Yeah.
I've never done this before.
Good. Yeah, a new variation.
Yeah.
Well, there's lots of variations. That's what's sort of fascinating about yoga is there's lots of asanas, and then there's A, B, C, and D, and with the different schools of yoga and the different teachers.
Perfect for forever learners.
Forever learners, exactly. Perfect for those of us who like to constantly be exploring. And your body's at different places at different times, so you learn something during your pregnancy, you learn something in your postpartum recovery as you're building your strength back, and then as you get back into your really active. So now just try coming forward just a little bit. Just roll yourself gently forward and feel that, how that intensifies that stretch in the hips. Beautiful. Nice. And now come back. Bring the feet back. And then just come forward. And untangle. Nice. Then it's always a good idea after we've had our knees like that, just to, let's just stretch back up into downward dog. Beautiful. Yes. Now your downward dog has gotten really different in the last couple of weeks. Have you seen that with your feet are better and your
Ever since I changed that hand position last week.
Yes, the hand position. Good. Yeah. It's just the subtle details that make a big difference. Great. Good. So this is a great restorative pose. And then come down. And now we'll just do an arch and a tuck. Now, this is, I can imagine you doing this during labor. Yeah. Excuse me.
I like to do this all the time.
You do this all the time. This is one of your favorite things, yes. And then let's do the variation where you come forward and to the side and up. Yeah, this one's really good for you. Because now we're getting a rotation in our hips. And all of the hip flexors and the ITB as you're coming around to the side. And then reverse it. 3, 4, 5, and back to the center. And let's do the other leg. Point that toe as you come in and kick back. Point that toe. And so one of the keys to this one as you kick back is that the toes point down, and that keeps your hips aligned. So you're engaging that low back and the glute. And if someone's sneaking up behind you, they won't get very close. 7, 8, 9, and 10. And now hold. And bring that right arm up. Beautiful. And down. And now bring the leg out. And down and up. Down and up. Down and up. I know, it's easy. I was just thinking the same thing. I was like, I'm going to say something about the elbow because my elbow just started to. So this is just a great way to stay in touch with all the parts of your body, keeping that awareness. One more, and now around. And back. And around. And back. And we'll do 2 more of these. The second side is always A little bit harder. The first side's tired. And now drop that heel behind. And again, into Gurmakasana. And sort of finding that place where you're in the middle. Yes. Nice. And then there's some different hand positions in this position. So since we have our right knee over, we'll put our left hand on top, and we can do the fish mudra, which looks like this, because it kind of looks like a fish. And you can feel as you stretch back that that's sort of powerful energetically. As we feel that right hip really opening. Yes, it is a very satisfying pose. It's nice to get into it. And there's lots of different arm positions we can do with this. But now we're going to come into Gurmakasana B. It's really intense when you first come into it. That's the difference between practicing yoga and looking at pictures. You look at pictures and you think, that person looks really relaxed, but when you're doing it, you're like, whoa, there's a lot going on here. My back is working, my hips are really working. And then curl over and intensify that stretch just a little bit. So even as you get bigger in your belly, you're just doing these gentle curl overs as long as you don't feel too much compression. You can even start using pillows as you get further along. One more breath. And come up. Nice. And now we'll just roll ourselves back forward so we can disentangle. And come back up into downward dog and stretch out those legs. So stretching out the calves, the backs of the knees, pointing that coccyx to the ceiling. Beautiful. Great. One more breath. And then back down. And back on our feet. And now let's come up into forward bend. And roll up one vertebrae at a time. Arms out, inhale. And exhale down. And now we've done some good lower body warming up. Let's come up into this sequence, one of your favorites. Okay, so we're going to point to the right. And feel as you engage your abs and tuck your pelvis just a little bit, how that lat kicks in. Good. And to the left. A lot of work, yeah. It's interesting. And you really appreciate that from all the work that you've done. And to the right. And you're pulling that shoulder down, and see how beautiful that V is there. That means you're pulling your shoulder down and engaging that lat. And to the left.